by Chasing the Rainbows with your host, Bernice Quisenberry.
On this week's podcast episode of Holidays, The Emotional Hangover, it is with the Bree and B segment. Hi, Bree.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, absolutely. So today we are going to be discussing the holidays. And I mean, this time of year,
It's hard.
You know, it is.
It's hard.
It is, absolutely. Especially the first one.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, coming into the holiday season. So, you know, something that we've been talking about with fellow survivors, like through mentorship, our support, our daily support groups and all of those different things is all about, you know, when you experience like miscarriage, stillbirth, infant loss, and then having to face the holidays with your family, your loved ones, your support systems. It's so difficult to navigate.
It's overwhelming.
It is. And so just talking about it and starting this open dialogue about it, right?
Yeah, no, I think it's important. And for our two stillbirths were right around the holidays. So the one was right before the holidays and one was right after the holidays. So yeah, it's challenging and being around people and having to have that holiday spirit.
Yeah, or trying to find something.
To find it is very challenging.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think, like I said, us just sitting here talking about it and knowing that our feelings are valid and needing to be talked about and cried out loud, you know, and just get them out there. But, you know, the hardest thing for me with the holidays was allowing myself the grace and realizing that however I came that day, because, you know, grief, it never comes in a nice, like smooth, like
convenient time,
convenient time in our lives or schedules. So it's just realizing that like our loved ones, our support system will just need to be okay with however I come or show up that day.
Yeah, no, I agree. It hits you.
Yes.
At the craziest times. And a lot of times I found that it did hit me when I was in what was supposed to be a happy situation.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're with family and you're celebrating. And then suddenly I'm like, but my baby's not here.
Right.
They should be here celebrating. They should be on the floor with their baby cousins.
Yes.
You know, getting that photo with all the family or opening the gifts. And so mine tended to be triggered when it was supposed to be a happy occasion because I felt like there's something missing, obviously.
Absolutely.
And, you know, that my baby wasn't there to experience those things with us.
Yeah. And I mean, you're exactly right. So it's the like when our family's all gathered, everyone's spending that time together, and then to be missing our baby who's never going to experience, you know, these happy, joyous times with our family, never going to experience playing with their cousins or just not involved in it. It's like, you know, it just shows then like how things are moving on or how they are moving forward.
Yeah.
And we aren't because like we're still there, especially during the first one. And, you know, learning that new life and learning that, you know, trying to find a new way or navigate this new normal that now we're given.
Yeah, I know. One of the things I always, you know, you picture you have a baby and it's that first picture under the tree, baby's first Christmas, and all those things, and then suddenly you're staring at the Christmas tree and thinking, that baby is never going to get that picture taken.
Yeah, absolutely, and that I mean, it really does say, you know, it's just upsetting. You know, it's devastating. And, you know, it seems like everyone around us like is moving on or has forgotten about our baby too, because like I feel like I was like sitting there and constantly thinking about Brooke and the interaction and all of those things, like you said. And then like everyone else was just like
genuinely happy and enjoying themselves. Yeah. No, I agree with you. I definitely felt that way. I would find myself getting lost in thought and looking around. And I'm like, why is nobody else feeling this way? And why are they not acknowledging that I'm sitting here, you know, sad and not enjoying myself? And and that takes an emotional toll too, because then you start questioning, like, am I crazy? But then you're like, well, why aren't these people acknowledging me? Or do they not love me? Do they not care? You know, you start spiraling in that way and questioning everybody around you and yourself.
Absolutely.
So it's hard.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And so like, I think for me too, the lead up, right, to the holiday before like even getting there and doing, you know, the holiday festivities or whatever that looked like, or hosting or whatever you're doing, was just remembering that grace, but then also setting up those safe escapes. So like if I was going to relatives or, you know, somewhere, like I had a plan with my husband, you know, or your spouse or your partner, whatever. And, you know, but like I know that I replayed every little thing leading up to that big day in my head and what it was going to be, or like every scenario, just so that I almost could like mentally, emotionally prepare for it.
Yeah, no, that's quite smart. And I think to have a plan.
Yeah.
So you are like mentally preparing yourself for, okay, if this happens, but I think that's, you know, it's almost like a protective thing for yourself so that you're not caught off guard, which I think is smart, because you want to be prepared and react in a humanly way and not like a nutcase or you know what I mean? Like you have a plan prepared for if this happens, here's our code word, or you know, whatever it is for you that you can get yourself out of the situation.
Exactly.
I think that's just for peace of mind is really important.
And taking the time that I needed, because I didn't know how I was going to, like I said at the beginning, like show up that day. I didn't know how I was going to be feeling, what emotions were going to come out or when.
Yeah. And you could have been totally fine.
Exactly.
You just don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. So I just wanted to know, like, okay, I'm going to go to this room if, you know, I'm having, like, I need a moment to myself. And I just need to take it. And like having the support and knowing that my husband was behind me was so helpful.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. And to have, you know, whoever it is in your corner to support you. And if they see you walk into the other room, or like you pull your ear, you know, whatever it is, like you have somebody who's got your back, who's going to acknowledge what's happening and kind of help you escape from that situation.
Yes, absolutely. And just make you feel like you're seen and heard during the chaos of the holidays and everything that's going on and all the activities around. So just giving you that time and that space. And and it's like also, you know, it's like family doesn't always see us hurting, or our support system doesn't always see us hurting throughout the week. And, you know, especially early on in that first year and two. And it's like, so when we all come together, then it's almost like, you know, they want to put a Band-Aid on it, or they're like surprised almost that we're still grieving.
Yeah. And I think, I think because they're not involved firsthand, so it's easier to move forward but we're still stuck there. And it's hard for us to express it, I think, too. So like for me personally, I'm a people pleaser, so I want to make sure everyone else around me is comfortable. So I will hide my feelings so that I don't make other people uncomfortable. It doesn't mean I'm not feeling those feelings. That's not healthy to do. No. I totally recognize that. No, that's terrible. But, you know, I definitely.
But you can't control it either. It's something that you just naturally do.
Yes.
Like I couldn't control just like crying, you know, whenever I needed to, or you know, having those outbursts and things like that, because that was normal. That's how I reacted.
Yeah. Totally normal too.
However somebody reacts to their grief, like we can't control it. Like it just happens. And just recognizing and knowing and acknowledging that. But having somebody who validates us too when it's happening is great. Like our partners and things like
100%.
that. Yeah. And, you know, like there's a sense of fakeness around the holidays. You know, everybody's in their Sunday best clothes. Everyone is trying to behave themselves where, you know, they are acting like life is perfect. Everything's great.
It's those highlight reels on social media that you see. And we all know that's not the truth, especially when you're grieving.
Yes, especially when you're grieving. And it's like everyone is grateful. They're going around the table saying what they're grateful for. And they almost expect you to say something that you're grateful for. And it's like, no, Karen, I'm not feeling grateful this holiday. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm not finding that gratitude deep in me.
Right.
Like, don't look at me to say anything. Just skip me.
Skip me, right.
Mine as well. Right. Yeah. Just like bounce right over me.
No, I think it's true. I mean, it's really hard to feel gratitude or appreciation for things when you're in such a deep phase of grief.
Yes.
And just, you know, you can barely pull yourself out of bed in the morning, let alone be thankful for things, and that doesn't last forever. You will become grateful again. You will become, you know, enjoy life again. But in those deep, dark days, especially around the holidays, and just, you know, all the what should be happening right now with your baby, and it's not happening because they're not there anymore. It's really hard to, especially, like, of course, you know, I'm always grateful for the health of my family.
Oh, of course.
There's those,
but
like,
they point it out. They point it out during the holidays. It's like, I already know to be grateful for these things, okay? It's just, I'm not feeling it right now.
Yes, you can't. Yeah, it's hard.
Not that I'm not feeling the gratitude for those things, but it's like, I am also grieving the loss of my baby. They're two different things. Yes. I'm going to be grateful in one sense for all of those things and what I have, but I don't need to be reminded. I don't need to talk about it right now, because right now I am
all you can think about is the grief.
Yeah. Yes. Yep. And it's so overwhelming. And like, so I'm not going to go, and I despise, sorry, I shouldn't use hate's a strong word, but I despise when people are trying to remind you of everything to be grateful for while you're in the midst of all this. Yeah. And let's not force that. Yes. Okay. And yes, I am grateful I have another child.
Yep.
But these are two different children. I'm grieving the loss of this one right now. Yep. So allow me this space.
Yeah.
You know,
and then
that grace.
I that happened to me a lot too. And I would start to feel guilty about it. Like, am I ungrateful for my child? Exactly. Am I ungrateful that I've got a roof over my head? And, you know, all these things. I'm like, no, I'm not. It's separate.
It is completely separate.
Don't even put them in the same box. They're two totally different things.
Yep, going through different things.
You can be
now.
Grateful and grieving.
Yes.
You know, and one does not sway the other.
Yes. And if you tell me to be grateful for something, it's not like all of a sudden my grief's going to turn off and I'm going to be happy-go-lucky.
Yes.
That's just going to like have me harbor anger and resentment towards you.
Yes.
Like, honestly, it's going to take me right there.
Yeah.
Especially during the holidays when, like, I don't need you coming at me about that. You know? And feeling that pressure.
You need someone who's going to say, it's okay that you're feeling this way, and I understand, and not shaming you for those feelings.
Yes. And it's like I said, everybody already telling us what we should be grateful for, and it's that toxic positivity that they try to pull out. Things like, well, at least this or that, and it's like, no, not at least this. Like, no, I'm not finding a silver lining. I'm not finding like the happiness in these times right now. I'm not feeling it. Like, it's not there for me. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Like, and even if, like, you know, they're like, well, back to having a previous child, like, well, what about, you know, your daughter, Ella? She's, and it's like, you don't, it's not your focus, which is, I don't know if that's the right word, but it's like, you're just in such a deep, dark place.
You're trying to hold it together.
You're trying to hold it together.
You're holding it together if you do have another child. You're holding it together for your spouse, or you're holding it together for your job. You're holding it together on so many different levels in your life right now. And
the last
thing you need is to, like, and I'm already feeling guilty because I am allowing myself to grieve, or like just meeting myself where I am, because I'm trying to give myself that grace already to understand that, like, I am human and that grieving is normal. And I'm sorry that our society doesn't recognize grief, doesn't know how to handle it.
Yeah.
But here I am doing what is feeling natural to me.
Yep.
And
you're doing the best you can.
Yes. And if you remind me to feel grateful, I'm going to feel even worse about myself.
100%.
Because
now you're calling me out for not being grateful. Exactly. Like, I'm not grateful, but I am grateful. I'm just grieving.
These are just two different things. Okay, people? Like, let's just get it together here. Like, how is it that hard to comprehend?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I think it is hard to comprehend if you've never been through it.
Well, it's exactly. Like, and I, you know, never would want anybody to ever have to experience the kind of, you know, immense amount of grief that comes with losing a child.
Sure.
You know, you don't wish that on anybody.
Absolutely.
So yeah, you're so right. But, you know, and it just feels like during the holidays too, like nobody gets it. Like it feels like everyone is like done talking about it and really doesn't want to like talk about it now, and how like, and they don't really want to know how we're truly doing. Yeah. Like they really do want those like candid, like, you're doing okay, you're doing good, like the fake answers, because then like when you really start to dive in, like, well, I'm actually not doing that well, like you get those blank stares, you get the people avoiding you, like you get all of that.
Well, I think because they don't want you to damper their spirit,
right?
Because there's this holiday spirit, happy, cheery. That's what the holidays are all about. So bring in like negative Nelly, then suddenly, you know, so they avoid us because, you know, we're not intending to damper anybody's spirits, but we're down.
Yeah, we're talking about our babies.
Yes.
Like, I don't want my baby forgotten during the holidays.
Correct.
I don't want them forgotten. Like, I want them to be brought into this room. I want them to be participating in this holiday, and I want you to recognize it. I want you to recognize them.
Acknowledge the fact that they're not here, and I'm not happy. I'm not.
Yes, like I want them here more than anything. And when somebody, does that to me is where like I feel like they're not talking about, they're not like wanting to know really how I'm doing and things like that. Then that's when like I do like the trauma dump, or like we call it, like where I just like spew all my stuff, or like I lash out in ways that I'm like, well, then I don't really care how you're doing. Like, I'm not going to talk to you then.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, almost like in a way that like my animosity is coming out. Like, I just don't want to even have to deal with you then.
Yeah.
And it's sad because it's not like I'm like that as a person.
Sure.
Normally.
Yeah. But when you're sad and upset and you're not getting what you need from those that are closest to you, around you, it's easy to lash out in ways that you wouldn't normally react.
Absolutely. And I think, just going back to, allowing yourself that grace and just meeting yourself where you're at that day is so important, especially in these challenging situations. And like we talked about, you don't see your family all the time. So, or if you do, but a lot of times, it's during special occasions or things like that. So, yeah. And, the first holiday without your baby, it's like you're creating all these new memories with your family. You're present, you're there, you're seeing, if you have other children, you're seeing them interact. And our babies are never going to be there. Like, they're never going to be able to experience these memories. They're never going to be able to, make these new memories. And it is that reminder.
Yeah. It's hard. Yeah. Like I was saying earlier, just, I always pictured, we have 2 girls now, and we lost our son Landon, and just like, I often think about what he would look like. And, but especially around the holidays, just getting that first baby photo by the Christmas tree or with Santa, or like, just those traditional things that my family does. And, like I said earlier, with all the cousins together, and it's like there's somebody missing there.
Right, like our matching pajamas. Like we do matching pajamas.
I love
so
that.
every year, and like now they're never going to have that. Or we also do the hand ornaments. So we love doing
That's
that.
great.
The imprints, like we're never going to have that with Brooke. And it's that.
All those first and continued traditions that you're missing out on.
Yes, those family traditions that are not going to be carried on
They're
to
just
them
not the same.
and their
Their
future
kids.
family.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like all these generations lost.
Yes, absolutely. And, everything is like during that time too, like I said, is like life is happening around us and happening around like where we're still feeling that stuck and in the midst of our deepest grief. So, yeah, I also needed to remind myself, and I feel like my husband did a really good job of this, of staying off of social media during the holidays.
Sure.
Because all people are posting is happy pictures of them and their families. And also like the texting too. Like I, of course, appreciate the texts of people reaching out during the holidays and things like that. But saying like happy holidays, like happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas, happy Hanukkah, whatever you believe in. And it's just like, what are you doing? Like, I am not happy right now. I'm not married. No, I'm not married. Don't send me anything about that. Like, I see the word happy and I'm like, no one's like, I'm not happy over here.
Yeah, that's hard. And and it's more, and I think that's where just educating people on how to handle when somebody is walking through a loss, and, not saying Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays or whatever it is, but more of like, hey, checking in. I know this is probably a hard time of year. How are you doing?
Yes, thinking of you.
Thinking of
you. If you need to talk, I'm here. Like, just being there, being that safe space for somebody is exactly right.
Yeah, because we're definitely not married.
Don't avoid it. Yeah, don't avoid it. You saying Merry Christmas to me is like a scapegoat. Like, I feel like.
Yes, and I think, it's so hard. And I feel like people avoid saying anything. But by doing that, you're actually making us feel worse.
Right.
And I know it's uncomfortable, but I like the whole, hey, I'm just thinking about you. That's an easy, like, maybe you're not wanting to hear how they're doing, but you want to know that let them know you're thinking about them. Just I'm thinking about you. I know this is a hard time of year.
Yes.
Something as simple, just acknowledging it is like a huge thing. I mean, for me, if somebody would acknowledge my kids, it instantly kind of boosted me like, oh my gosh, somebody else is thinking about them like I am.
Yes.
And it made me feel better. So
yes.
Ignoring does not help anybody.
No.
It just makes it awkward and it makes us sad.
Because we're still like, that day is happening. Like we're thinking about them constantly during that day. And maybe some holidays we're not. And wherever we're at, you know, not everybody's the same. Not everyone's going to experience it however they do, you know. But it is like just knowing that at some point I'm going to think about Brooke.
Yeah.
On a holiday.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's like just avoiding it. I'm not avoiding it in my head, and you not bringing it up is not going to have me forget and then not like, oh, I'm not going to think about her now. No, I'm still thinking about her.
Yeah. And I think going back to the whole social media thing too, I think is important because I know there's so many triggers on social media.
Oh my goodness.
So many triggers. And especially over the holidays when you're a little bit more vulnerable.
Yes.
I think it's important to, if you need to, for your own mental health, stay off of social media.
Yes.
Please do it
because you see the cute like maternity t-shirts people are wearing with like little Santa hats and like having a little Santa in there, like, or like Cookie Monster, you know, different things like that. And you're seeing people wear them. You're seeing people with their babies with all their first photos, like you said,
like
by
we
the Christmas
should be
tree.
having.
Yes, with Santa, all those things. Like I can't, like those memories that we should be making. Yes, and we're not. And it's just a reminder. It's like a constant slap in the face and a gut-wrenching punch to the, you know,
and you know, and if you know it's going to be a gut-wrenching punch and a slap in the face, why would you endure that? Like, why would you subject yourself to that?
Yeah. Honestly, sometimes I wondered if I did get on and look at those things just so I could get out a good cry.
Yeah. For sure.
And it wasn't like I wished like ill or like those people not have those things, but I was so jealous and envious.
Because for sure.
Yes. And it's not, like I said, you know, you want people to have that and experience it and get that joy and things like that. But I just wasn't there where like, I just wanted that to be my baby and that wasn't my baby. So it was that sense of that. And that's okay. That's normal to feel like that.
Absolutely. I did the same thing. And I feel like sometimes you just need to cry it out loud. And you know, it's an emotional release. Because it gets built up and you just got to get it out. So I think that's, we all do that.
Absolutely. So I mean, like I said, had to try to stay off socials as much as possible, unless I was preparing myself for a good cry, then that was like a whole different thing. But honestly, no, around the holidays, definitely. And in that first year I really needed to as well. But, you know, something that was shared with us like a couple weeks ago from, you know, support group and stuff like that, I loved it. And we actually started doing it then, is lighting the candle at the beginning of the day with like your family, right? And you're holding about like 5 minutes for everyone to sit there and honor your baby. So like we honored Brooke, but this allows like others to know like that we are talking about her on the holidays, like just getting the elephant in the room out.
So you mean like when you go to a family event or something, or
a function, or like a holiday.
So you like take the first 5 minutes or so,
light a candle in remembrance of Brooke, like just letting you guys know we're doing this.
Love that.
And how I did it was more like we're inviting, like how I said it, and you know, doesn't have to be the same for everybody. Like I'm inviting Brooke into the room. Like I want her to I want to feel like her presence, right? Or like make her presence known more or less.
And acknowledged.
Yes, and acknowledged. And it's that like we're still talking and thinking of her like on this day. And that I want others to feel like they can also like open the conversation or ask us or talk about Brooke too. Like nobody has to walk on eggshells. No one needs to like avoid
that weird elephant in the room.
Yes, and we're just getting it out there at the beginning.
And I think that's helpful for us as survivors, because we are bringing them into the room and everyone's acknowledging their presence. So like instead of everyone ignoring the big elephant in the room, it takes up time, but it's only a few minutes. So you're not like dampering the mood and waiting for somebody to say something about your baby. We're just going to talk about it up front. It tells people you're open to talking about it. And it's just, I think it benefits everybody.
Yeah. And we're not forgetting about her. Like, it's also like everyone then is like reminded of her, even if like it avoids me from them feeling like this sort of resentment. Like no one's talking about her. Everyone's moved on from her. No one's like acknowledging her. Like it 100%. Does. It like stops that. But then also like it does include our baby in the holiday then. So then Brooke is like brought to, that day.
Yep.
But then also if I need to take a step away, people then go back to, oh, she probably had to take it. Like if they see me start to get choked up and I have to walk out of the room, oh, it's probably
they
'cause of
know
Brooke.
why.
Yeah, like it's not like, oh, what's going on with her? Is
What's
she
wrong
okay?
with
Let's
her?
go check in with her. Like let me go. Like, and then all of a sudden, well, of course I'm upset. I'm grieving Brooke. Like it's like almost like a reminder for them. Oh, that's right, because like I said at the beginning, like a lot of them don't see us like grieving day in and day out, or like now being a couple years out.
Yeah,
I'm not having those emotional outbursts every day and things,
right.
but I still am having them.
Yeah.
But and that it's normal.
Yeah. No, I love that. I think that's a beautiful, beautiful way to honor your baby, validate your feelings, but then also include and give everyone else permission to recognize your baby and that it's okay to talk about them and to, just to make you feel like they're included because they're not physically there to be included. So it's a way to include them.
Yes. And, like my parents, Brooke's grandparents and aunt and uncles, and they're all grieving her too in different ways.
Right.
And they all have their own way of doing it. So like, it also allows them then to know like, this is safe. Like, and we're just acknowledging her and like, bringing it to light. And it does. It was beautiful.
It's beautiful. I love the idea.
Yeah.
I think it's wonderful.
Yeah. And like, we also, too, so we like to decorate early because that's just the kind of people we are. Yeah, we're like right after Halloween. We like to get out the Christmas decorations. We kind of skip over Thanksgiving. Yeah, I did start listening to Christmas carols right before Halloween this year. But it was like, I don't know. This is probably the first year, like this is our third holiday without Brooke. And like I'm starting, and I think it's because we have so many ornaments now for her on the tree, and that's really what got me into the holiday spirit then, because I was like, okay, we're hanging her stocking, we do all these things for her, and then but like over the years, and what got me to start to decorate again was getting these ornaments. And it's like her footprints, it's or it's also cardinals because we signify birds with different things with Brooke, and then also like having like a goodbye ornament, like just different things that we have on our tree. And it really helped me then to be like, okay, it's almost like honoring Brooke, and then it allows me to like get into the spirit, or at least try to.
Right. No, I think that's great. I think finding some way to include them, whether it's through ornament or whatever it is, or for us, so our losses were so close to the holidays, so it was too soon, and that's okay. Like if you're not feeling ready to do that, because for me, it was too soon, and I didn't want a reminder staring at me every day.
Well, no, and how were you even gonna, like, for me, I think about like those beginning days, right? It was so hard to process anything. Like I wouldn't know how to honor our baby, or like what to do in those moments, because I was really just trying to survive at that point.
Yeah, those ideas come later in the game, but I think early on, you can't even comprehend like how to function in life, let alone how to honor your child. So, but I think, over time, I love the idea of the ornaments and things that you can do to honor. I know we have several photos. We have a photo up of my oldest holding one of our stillbirths, Emma, and she drew a couple pictures of Emma in heaven and Landon in heaven, and like, so we have those laying around and stuff. And there's like little ceramic hearts with their names on it that we have, and little footprint ceramic feet, So just little things like that are around our house, and especially at the holidays, like making sure that they're front and center, and everyone can see them and stuff. I think that's a really cool way to honor them and bring their spirit, presence into the room, especially during the holidays.
Right. Yeah. And I think it's really important, for our oldest son too, Bryson, like for him to be able to see these things and put the ornaments up and see Brooke, and, because he enjoys it too, like to be able to see his sister's name, see that she, like, how we do continue to carry on her legacy. Yeah.
Yeah. We same with Ella. Ella's our oldest, and she was there for all the losses. Now our rainbow baby Claire obviously was not there for any of these, but she knows who they are because we talk about them, and she'll even draw pictures of them and stuff like that. And
it's so cute.
Just because she knows, we acknowledge them. She is
in her own way.
Yep.
Absolutely. Oh, I think it's just beautiful that you bring them in and everything too. So Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, that takes us to the end of this segment. I just want to say thank you, Bree, for being here. Thanks for helping me open the dialogue around the holidays, talking about some of these things that, I wish were talked about more, and it's just nice to be able to get them out there and have a safe space to share.
Yeah, hang in there, guys. I mean, this is really, grief is hard, but grieving around the holidays, I think, is just an extra hard thing to go through, and
navigating it.
Oh, it's so difficult.
And everyone's different. So, some things might work for some people, some don't. Yep. And it's just trying to find your own way and make your own traditions or not or whatever you want to do or however you want to do it. It's really so personal.
And it's okay to not feel happy and merry and joyful, and don't feel bad about
grateful.
That. Yeah,
grateful.
Or grateful.
Yeah, don't get me started on that one, but again. But yeah. But thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. And please follow and subscribe to our podcast so we can help reach as many survivors as we can, so they can find our daily support services. They can find our podcast. They can find everything that we're doing here free for other survivors and bringing them all together. We're always with you, infertility, pregnancy, and baby loss survivors.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you.